We're driving a 2025 Subaru WRX, the new TS trim to be specific.
Here's how much the WRX costs.
First things first, what is a TS trim? It's not an STI. We have the exact same power as every other WRX that's available. However, we do have adaptive dampers that have been sports tuned by Subaru Technica International, STI. We also have 19-inch wheels and summer tires, big old Brembo calipers in beautiful gold, clamping bigger disc brakes. So we have somewhat enhanced styling and dynamic performance versus the rest of the WRX lineup, but it is not an STI. That said, inside, it is kind of fun.
These Recaro seats really elevate the vibe. I love all the color in here.
Blue.
There's so much blue. This blue stitching on the ultra suede. Is it an ultra suede, a micro suede, a suede suede?
It's mega suede.
Also these faux carbon fiber accents, which look nice. There's a real sporty, elevated vibe in here.
And yet also quite practical. A reasonable sized phone zone in the CVT version. When you're in park and you're trying to access this phone zone, it's kind of difficult to work around. But with the manual, no problem. And then we also have a USB-A, a USB-C port, and an auxiliary in.
Hooray!
Are you still using an auxiliary in your automobile? If so, tell us in the comments. Oh, and then back here we've got a little center console area.
As for door storage, we have generous room for a bottle with additional storage down below, as well as a proper sauce pocket. There's also a dual level cup holder right here.
And if you want to, you can remove the center divider and put something larger there. Going back to the Recaro seats, I really enjoy them. Excellent lateral support. I'm choking on my words. We knew this day would come. Oftentimes manufacturers will do these like big side bolsters that come really far out, and that doesn't hold you in any better. It just looks cooler. The advantage of having reasonable size bolsters is that when I turn, my arms aren't whacking into them. I've got reasonable lumbar support, even though it is non-adjustable. I'm not getting any pressure points. I find these very comfortable.
I find them comfortable as well, although if I was any hippier, I probably wouldn't fit in them.
Seated behind my ideal front seat position, knee and foot space is great. Where things get a little bit cozier is in headroom. I do fit, I'm 5'10", long torso. Thank you for the snake graphic, sweetie. And my hair on a poofy hair day does get right up against the headliner. In the middle position, it's kind of the same deal. The real trick with that middle position is that the center hump is not made for putting feet on. What about you, kiddo? How do you find that middle position?
Same as you. I can put my feet there, but it kind of has to go like toes out. It's really hard.
Like a little duck walk. Quack, quack. And then what about climbing in and out of the Subaru WRX, kid?
Easy.
If I had any wish for the backseat in relation to my child, it would be rear vents, which are not included on any WRX. Now for cargo space, we've got 12.5 cubic feet, and among compact cars, that's not that great.
There is some underfloor storage, but no spare tire.
You just have that little tire repair kit. Though if you do need more cargo space, you can always flip down the 60/40 split fold seats. Even though it is a little bit on the small size, I think by shape and aperture, it's workable for our family. What about the latch situation?
The lower anchors are covered with latch flaps, easy to access. If you have a car seat with a tall back, the door opening is a little bit narrow, so getting it in there can be a bit tricky. There's room for a car seat on the 2 outboard positions or the middle position. Judging by the amount of knee space for the rear passengers, I think a rear-facing car seat would work.
As for safety, the NHTSA has rated the WRX 5 stars overall, and then in 2024, which would carry over to 2025, it is a top safety pick from the IIHS. We also have 7 airbags and a full suite of active driver assist technology, which was not the case when we first reviewed this generation WRX back in 2022. Family, what do we think? Is the Subaru WRX family friendly?
There is limited cargo space, but because they've added that active safety, we will give it the family-friendly label. Small family-friendly.
Small family friendly.
Saying small family friendly sounds so much better coming out of her. Rear window test. All the way down. Weird face too. Did you like poke my hand? Armrest test. Driving in a comfortable 8 and 4, I can't really touch this inboard armrest, so I'm gonna give that 25%, but outboard is pretty dang soft and relatively accessible. I'm gonna give that 85%. That might be the biggest chasm between in and out that we've done in a long while. Moving onward to style. When we first reviewed this generation Subaru WRX, there was some controversy. Body cladding, what do we feel about that?
I liked it then, I like it now.
You used the word hippie earlier, so I'm gonna say the hippie body cladding, especially around back. To my eyes, I wouldn't say this is the most beautiful vehicle that we've driven, but it does kind of look like what it needs to look like, which is a Subaru and a WRX.
It's my favorite Subaru for sure. I love the crisp lines on the rear 3/4, how the sun dances over it.
That's so artistic.
The sun dances over it. That sounds like a Bob Ross thing.
Oh yeah.
And a happy little tree.
Aww. One prominent feature of the WRX, that hood intake. I'll quickly note that this conspicuous hood intake isn't just stylish, it's also functional. And I'm going to prove that by opening it up and say, hey look, it goes right here to the intercooler. Super cool. Stylish and functional, just like the Flying Eyes I'm wearing right now. They're super bendable. If you're curious how Flying Eyes makes it more comfortable to fly a helicopter, drive a car, and just live your normal life, click the link in the description below. If you're in the market for sunglasses or eyeglasses, you can save 10% when you use the promo code Micah. If you're wondering about the paint color for our particular tester, it is World Rally Blue Pearl. And one of the things I love that Subaru does is that they don't charge you extra for most paint colors. I approve of the WRX's style, and Sweetie seems to really like it. But what do you think? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Tell us in the comment section. Also, thank you for supporting our channel. Your support has enabled us to get rid of GoPro, so we have a complete DJI camera setup, and it's working great. Look at us driving around shooting a video without fear of overheating cameras. It's awesome. Thank you guys. Moving onward to In Motion. When we drove the 2022 WRX, I thought it felt kind of bouncy. I described it as like lowered, but from the factory, this kind of stuff. And we don't have that here. One of the big reasons, adaptive dampers. When you put this thing into comfort mode, it's actually pretty darn comfortable. It's not so soft that you forget what its purpose is, which is a sporting driving machine, but perfectly livable for daily transportation. I can push this mode button here and go over, let's say, Sport Plus mode. You can feel that it really firms up the suspension, steering gets heavier. This is a very adaptive kind of vehicle. You can change its nature with the push of a button. And now I'm gonna go quickly that direction, and notice how I was able to get floored really quickly with the confidence that all 4 tires were going to pull us outward, so there'd be no like weirdness or stepping the tail out. The all-wheel drive system does a great job putting power to the tires that can use it. And then in terms of acceleration, it does feel like a turbocharged car. When you floor it, there's the initial acceleration and then the turbo boost comes in, and it's kind of like a 1-2 propulsion style. In the olden days, you'd floor it and like nothing would happen, and then there'd be this big boost. And now there's less of a division between those 2 stages. I think what they're trying to do is balance the needs of someone who drives like me and the needs of someone who drives like you.
Hooray!
I really like using this manual. It's very easy to get into the right gear, and I also like the clutch feel. Reasonable pressure, easy take-up point. Oh, and the positioning of the pedals works really well for heel-toe downshifts. I mentioned earlier that the TS trim has extra large brake rotors and those really big Brembo calipers. I'm also going to see if I can bring it to a smooth stop, because sometimes really good brakes can be a little touchy. What do we think?
Pretty smooth.
While I'm talking about braking, I'll also note that there is an e-brake in here, and use that knowledge as you see fit. Let's put us in Sport Plus and bring a little speed into the equation here. For steering, when I make that input, I get the response that I want. We have a fairly quick steering ratio. The vehicle tracks in a way that is predictable, which encourages speedier driving. So yeah, I think this is a great platform for good time fun having. Good time fun having. We got to make some merch with that on it.
It was such a stupid idea. We had to do it.
That's what I think about driving the Subaru WRX. What does Sweetie think? Evie's at the wheel. Okay, we rarely drive manual transmissions, so your first challenge, pull away smoothly. We do have an incline assist feature that'll keep you from rolling back using the manual transmission.
Excellent.
Let's see how that works.
Ooh.
Sweetie, that was a professional level departure.
I really do appreciate the clutch on here. It's very easy to operate, even for someone like myself who's way out of practice. I was actually surprised how approachable this vehicle was because I know how sporty it is.
When you're steering it around, does this feel fun?
Weirdly, I'm having fun. That's not really my vibe when I'm driving.
That is true. Fun
it's
is
more screaming and being worried about things. I don't like it.
Floor it. Whee! Fun?
fun.
Just driving this around, can you drive it like just a normal transportation kind of car?
Absolutely.
What about visibility?
The pillars are rather thin, so visibility is good all around.
And now I know you love driving a smaller car. By size, did this work for you?
Yes, I love driving a smaller car.
Well stated. Another benefit of driving a WRX, turning circle is only about 36 feet.
Ooh.
If we were in the market for a performance sedan, are there any game killers that would keep you from driving a Subaru WRX?
The one concern I do have is ground clearance.
It's 5.4 inches of ground clearance in the WRX, so if you live somewhere that does have snow, maybe wait until the plow goes out first.
Otherwise, this was a fun drive.
Sweetie's having fun behind the wheel. Amazing. I'm getting back in the driver's seat. Let us move on to remarks. We've got a standard 11.6-inch screen throughout the WRX lineup. We did a review of the Subaru Outback not too long ago. Same thing.
Just like in the Outback, I really like using this infotainment system. The icons are large and colorful. It's easy to add the shortcuts you want. The HVAC is integrated into the screen, which gives it an overall cleaner look. But there are physical buttons for the items you'd use most often: temperature, the tune, and volume knobs.
My only concern about the infotainment setup is that I've had a couple of moments where its reactions are a little bit laggy, but otherwise great. And it also includes Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless smartphone connectivity. And that aux in again. You have a Zune somewhere that you want to get plugged in here? You could do that.
That wireless smartphone connectivity makes me wish that this area right here featured a wireless charger.
New for 2025, we've got this digital gauge cluster. It's 12.3 inches. This is included on the TS and GT trims. It's funny because it's a digital gauge cluster, but my favorite view just emulates analog gauges. And my favorite touch is this is not an STI, but it does say STI in the gauge cluster. It also says STI on the start button. So our claim that the WRX TS is STI-ish is not totally outrageous. Also, that was a seemingly nonsensical string of letters that I threw together there.
Yes.
But I think it does make sense. All of this does bring us to the 2025 model year. What has changed for the WRX for 2025? There are really three big changes. Number one, the new TS trim that we're driving. Number two, they've got a new color, Galaxy Purple. It's like $395. It's the only paint I believe that they charge extra for. It's kind of a cool purple, so I wouldn't mind paying a little extra for it. And then there's a new driver distraction mitigation system. The only time it did anything was to tell me I wasn't paying attention at a time where I was definitely paying attention. So my inclination is just to turn that off. But hey, it's there in case you want it. Bonus update for 2025, Subaru has killed the base WRX trim, and now Premium is the base trim. And now let's take a look under the hood in a test inspired by my buddy Brian. Here's how you open the hood on a Subaru WRX, and man, I sure love those struts. Here's where you check the oil level on the WRX. Here's where you can add oil, and that's where you add the washer fluid. And man, I like how they've got everything color-coded yellow for the things you'll want to interact with. And if you're wondering, what does the horn sound like on a Subaru WRX? All right, let's talk engine choices. The only engine is a 2.4-liter turbocharged, horizontally opposed 4-cylinder. Subaru recommends 91 octane and all-wheel drive comes standard. For transmissions, the TS only comes with a manual, the GT trim only comes with a CVT, all the others come with a manual transmission standard and the CVT optional. By the way, if you go to the dealer and you ask for the CVT and they're like, what are you talking about? Subaru calls it the Subaru Performance Transmission. It's a CVT, but it has an 8-speed manual mode. Oh, and yes, those are 2024 fuel economy numbers because the 2025 numbers weren't out yet, but they're probably essentially the same.
Sweetie, please share our trim recommendation.
I will. Our trim recommendation is which trim will give you the essential Subaru WRX features you'd regret not getting, but at the lowest possible price. We're going to recommend you get the cheapest WRX premium trim. It includes heated front seats, plenty of USB ports, that 11.6-inch screen, and smart key access, plus a standard manual transmission. If you're ready to buy a Subaru WRX of your very own, click the Kelly Blue Book pricing link in the description below to learn what you should spend on a WRX and how much you can expect to get for your trade-in. If you're looking for a low-priced, sporty sedan, consider the Honda Civic Si or Volkswagen Golf GTI. Yes, the GTI is more of a hatchback. Pricier alternatives include the Honda Civic Type R, the Volkswagen Golf R, which is all-wheel drive, or the Hyundai Elantra N. One interesting alternative that offers all-wheel drive and more torque than a WRX at a lower price point is the Mazda 3 Turbo. Did we miss any remarks? If so, tell us in the comments section. And now it is our daughter's time to shine. Child, please tell us, what is your favorite feature in the Subaru WRX?
All the blue, like, everywhere.
Kiddo, when I got into this thing, I was like, hey, look at all that blue.
You know, I'm still here.
That's why Sensi has my back. Family, I think we've done a good job reviewing the Subaru WRX TS. May I have a 5? And another 5, and you! Come get your high five. Bam! And now, please enjoy our AI-generated synopsis song about the Subaru WRX.
Cruising down the highway with a smile like Terry Rocks by my side. Kids in the backseat laughing, singing to the radio's ride. Turbo boosting, feel the thrill as the engine roars alive. Family drives never dull with Subi's power